welcome to my new video. This is Super Turrican on the Super Nintendo, and once again this is being played on the Nintendo Wii via the virtual arcade. I do have a Super Nintendo now, and I was actually hoping to be able to pick up a copy of this for the Super NES, but the prices for it on eBay are absolutely astronomical. There's no way I'm going to pay the price that people are asking for this game. I can only assume it must have been a very rare or difficult game to get hold of, or has sort of become a rare or difficult game to get hold of, because certainly the prices that are being charged are, well, they're just ridiculous, to put no too fine a point on it. I first came across Turrican on the Commodore 64 and it absolutely blew me away. It was an absolutely phenomenal technical achievement. The Commodore 64 version just looked gorgeous, it sounded gorgeous, it played absolutely fantastic, and I remember when it came out at the time there was a bit of a hoo-ha, people saying, you know, that it was almost Amiga quality graphics on the Commodore. Well, it wasn't really, to be perfectly honest with you. It was probably nowhere near as pretty as the Amiga, but certainly for the Commodore 64 it was absolutely awesome. So when I saw this was available on the virtual console, I think that's what it's called. You know, someday I'm actually going to fire up the Wii again and actually have a look. I'm sure it is called the virtual console, but I could be mistaken. On the Wii store, I decided, right, I'm going to have a go of this on the on the Super Nintendo, and it's another gorgeous looking, phenomenally playable game. Although it is an exceptionally difficult game, that has to be said. It's lost none of its difficulty in translation over to the N64. I love this type of game. It was kind of, I suppose you could say it was a bit of a Super Metroid or Metroid style game, you know, with your character jumping around in a sort of spacesuit type thing that can turn into a ball, blowing things up and what have you. But there was something more action orientated with Turrican. Metroid had a lot more puzzle elements to it, I think it's probably fair to say, where this had a much greater emphasis on blowing the living crap out of everything. Again, one of the things that I've found with this is using the original classic controller on the Wii is a bit problematical. I never particularly found it to be the best control system for old games, and again, like I've said in previous videos, this comes down to the fact that it was essentially trying to emulate 3 or 4 different console systems. Well, actually it's trying to do a lot more than that if you factor in the Mega Drive and the Master System and so on and so forth, as well as the Commodore 64. And yeah, I mean, it's trying to be a one-size-fits-all solution, and the problem with having a one-size-fits-all solution to your controller is it often falls between two stools. It's neither a particularly fantastic thing or a particularly crap thing, and that's the sort of problem with it. Now I know that they have since redesigned the controller. I may actually decide to reinvest in it, because I do think that sometimes I'm not getting the best out of these games, but in any event, yeah, Super Turrican, it's still a fantastic game. I mean, you can see for yourself how pretty the graphics are. The sound is absolutely phenomenal, very, very catchy music to it, and you know, sometimes what tended to happen with games that were translated from the home computers into console games, and they tended to lose quite a degree of what made them particularly fantastic on the console, on the home computers. They sort of become console-ized. Just thought I'd make up a phrase there, and by that I mean that they sort of, there's many changes made to them to accommodate the perception of what console gamers want. And I wouldn't actually say that's happened here with Super Turrican. I think the developers have retained the same original feel that the game had when it was released on the Amiga and when it was released on the Commodore 64. They haven't sort of tried to change it too much. Obviously the graphics and sound have been enhanced, certainly over this Commodore 64 version. I can't recall playing this on the Amiga. I did have an Amiga, but I can't recall playing it on there. I think it may have been one of those games that passed me by. It might have been because at the time I played it to death on the Commodore 64 and just decided that I couldn't be bothered getting it on the Amiga. That was probably more the case, but yeah, I mean, it certainly does look gorgeous. And yeah, it's well worth checking out. I would say though that you're probably better off getting this. In fact, I would go so far as to say that it's probably cheaper to buy a Nintendo Wii, get yourself some credits for the virtual console store thingy, buy yourself a decent classic controller, and then download this than it is buying the actual cartridge on eBay. So yeah, check it out. Do that. Check it out. It's a great game. Thank you for watching.